Well everyone, it's time for us to go and compare the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and see which specific console you should go ahead and buy in 2023. Now clearly there's going to be some key differences between these two. Are you already coming from a PlayStation? Are you already coming from an Xbox? Those types of questions are going to completely, differentiate whether you're already going to go down a PS5 route or an Xbox X route, to be honest. So the main thing to ask yourself is, are you already coming from a previous console? If you're not coming from either one of those consoles, then you're probably going to be fine. You're going to find a good place at home between both of these consoles, to be honest. But I will tell you, if you're already coming from an Xbox, One X, going up to the Xbox Series X would be the smartest thing you can do. Mostly because a lot of your gaming library will already work on the Xbox Series X, but also all your achievements and anything your game, like your friends list and all that stuff, your Microsoft and Xbox account is just already going to be there, so you might as well just go for the Xbox Series X. Same exact thing with the PlayStation 4. If you're coming from the PS4, PS4 Slim, or PS4 Pro, you might as well go up to the PS5. That's how I've always kind of seen it. But if you have both these consoles, like an Xbox and a PS4, well then which one should you go through? Well, let's go and see which one is going to be the better one. Now, luckily for us, these gaming consoles have gotten a little bit easier to actually pick up. So no longer is it super hard to actually go ahead and, pick one of these consoles up. Now, maybe you won't be able to get them in the certain configuration or something, or maybe you won't be able to get them, maybe the only way you can get them is if you rent them via, from Microsoft, or you rent them from PlayStation, the way they kind of have their gaming program. But you can still get them fairly easily nowadays, so that's always good. So I will leave both these consoles linked down in the description, so you can get them from there and you can, help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting up with the design of both these consoles, I will be taking a look at the PS5 disc and digital versus the Xbox Series X. I know the digital one's a little weird, but I'm just going to assume it's the disc one as well. So with both of these consoles, you do have the ability of basically using, actual discs and CDs. So you do have disc trays on the front of both these consoles, which is really nice. You are getting USB ports on the front of both these consoles. However, I will say that it is very nice that, Sony is giving us two different ports on the front. One USB-C port and a actual USB Type-A port on the front, whereas on the Xbox Series X, you were getting no USB-C port on that console. Now, what that basically shows me, I don't really know why Microsoft didn't do this. They basically did not give us the ability of actually, getting a USB-C port on the front of that console. And I find that very, very weird. I feel like Sony did a really good job at giving us that type of capability. And it's very weird to me that, Microsoft actually didn't give us a USB-C port. That's the future port, that's a future-ish type of port. So it's weird that they didn't do it. I'm still kind of flabbergasted by it, but it is what it is. You are getting very similar type of port selections on the back of both these consoles though. Between both, you're still getting HDMI ports, you're still getting USB ports on the back, you have storage expansion, you're still getting a lot of overlap on the back of both these consoles as well. So it's not really like one console has way more, I/O than the other one. It's fairly similar for the most part, so I wouldn't really freak out about it too much, but like I said, it is kind of nice to go ahead and have a, USB-C port. That kind of brings a bigger change in my opinion than something like what the Xbox Series X brought. Now with the design, this is another thing. So I would kind of say that the PlayStation 5 is an overall bigger console than the Xbox Series X, but a lot of people like the design of the Xbox. I think it looks fine. I think it has a pretty decent design to it, but I've always felt like with the PlayStation 5, that console looks great. And I don't want to just keep hyping the PlayStation 5 up. It sounds like I'm kind of being biased, but personally for me, I do like the design and the exterior of the PlayStation 5 a ton. And with the Xbox Series X, I feel like they did, it looks more like a gaming PC, in my opinion. It looks more like a PC, like a desktop PC, than, even like than an actual gaming console. I feel like Microsoft knocked it out of the park with the Xbox One S. That is one of my favorite design consoles of all time. But in this generation, it seems like even the Xbox Series S, I think, looks more like a gaming console than this thing. So I feel like this console looks too serious. The PlayStation 5 looks way more unique, and I think that's definitely a really nice thing going for the PlayStation 5. Now that kind of covers it up on the outside of both these consoles. It's really just whatever you choose and whatever your taste is. But like I said, I like how Sony just at least threw in one USB-C port, because that is more of a future-ish port than USB-A. Now, in terms of the gaming library between both these consoles, you are able to basically do backwards compatibility on both these consoles, which is really nice. So if you're getting, the digital Xbox, or even if you're getting a Series X and a disc version of the PlayStation 5, you still have the ability of playing your, actual, disc games, or you have the ability of playing your digital library as well. So there are lots of games that overlap between these two, but there are also unique titles that are coming out for the PlayStation 5 and unique titles that are coming out and have already came out for the Xbox Series X. So it really depends on which direction you want to go down. If you take a look at some of the, unique titles of PlayStation, maybe you'll be okay and maybe you'll want to go down that direction. Maybe if you want to go through the unique titles of Xbox, things like Halo and, even like the Microsoft Flight Simulator, where you're going to have, more capability on the Xbox side if you enjoy those types of games. But like I said, for a majority of games that are going to be coming out and that have already came out, you will see that basically they have the same type of gaming library. As long as you don't care about those unique titles, if you're wanting a game on one console, most probably it's going to be available on the other console as well. So that's always something that kind of, stands out. Again, even if you like Halo, if you like the Flight Simulator, if you like Forza, you're going to be getting that on the Xbox side. But there's also a lot of, games that are key exclusives on the PlayStation 5. And some people have mentioned Spider-Man. That's available kind of on both, but the newest ones are available on the PlayStation side. Gran Turismo is on PlayStation. So it really depends on which one you prefer. But I feel like unique titles are kind of an exclusives, are kind of not necessarily the reason why people pick up consoles anymore. It's usually what's available. Now, both these consoles, in terms of the power side, they both have very high-powered CPUs and very high-powered GPUs. Technically speaking, the Xbox Series X is more powerful in terms of, on paper specifications than what the PlayStation 5 is, but you are getting pretty much 16 gigabytes of RAM on both. You are getting basically almost a terabyte of SSD storage within them, which is really nice, but you're also getting 8K resolution output at up to 120 frames per second on certain games. Again, I don't think you can do 8K at 120 all the time, but depending on the game, you can go up to 8K, you can go up to 120 frames per second, and you can even do 4K UHD output on these two as well, which is actually really nice. So with a gaming console like both of these, like I said, personally for me, I feel like there's way less differences than there used to be. I feel like there's way more performance nowadays, and there's way more similarity with both of these consoles than there ever were before. So that doesn't necessarily mean that one console and the other console are exactly the same, but it basically means to me that if you're getting an Xbox Series X, or if you're getting a PlayStation 5, you might not even think to yourself like, oh, I'm getting like a certain console because it's way better. Most of the time it's, hey, I wanted an Xbox because I'm already in the Xbox ecosystem and I wanted to keep going, or I'm already in the PlayStation ecosystem, I wanted to keep going too. It's almost like Android and iPhones. It's like, oh, do you like an Android or do you like iOS? Well, maybe you thought about a big difference like 5-10 years ago and you just stuck with it ever since because all your stuff and everything is already there. Most people I know are not going to be buying both these consoles, but if you have the ability of doing so, I'd recommend it. But I do think with both of these consoles, you cannot go wrong. They both have backwards compatibility. They both have a humongous gaming library already. They both have cloud gaming, like I said. They both have very good performance, tons of games available. The controllers are awesome, so you can't really go wrong, and they're both available a little bit easier now than before. The only thing I would even kind of think about is, hey, if you can kind of wait out a little bit longer, maybe you can buy a PS5 or an Xbox for cheaper than you would if you buy it right now. But even then, it's not that big of a deal. These things are widely available nowadays. So I would probably recommend saying, hey, if you're okay with buying a PS5, go for it. If you're okay with buying an Xbox Series X, go for it. But I don't really think one console is exceptionally better than the other one. So that's kind of how both these consoles compare, I think, in 2023. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.